Hi and welcome back to our channel. Today I'm going to talk about something that honestly makes me want to tear my hair out sometimes because it happens so often and it's completely avoidable. I'm talking about the single biggest mistake that new supported living providers make. And it's not what you might think. It's not about picking the wrong staff. It's not about the poor care planning. It's not even failing the CQC inspection. The biggest mistake happens right at the very beginning, before you even started trading, and it can completely destroy your business before it's even got off the ground. I'm talking about people losing tens of thousands of pounds because of one big mistake. And it's a really frustrating thing because once you've made this mistake, it's almost impossible to undo. So make sure you stick around for the rest of this video to find out what I'm talking about. Alright, so what is this massive mistake? It's this: getting the property first. I know this sounds weird. You're probably thinking, well, of course I need a property. It's called supported living for a reason. People need somewhere to live. And how is getting a property a mistake? Let me explain. The mistake isn't getting a property at all. The mistake is getting a property too early in the process before you've sorted out everything else you need in place. Oftentimes we speak to people who signed a lease on a house. They're paying anywhere from £1,500 to around £3,000 a month in rent. And then they ring us up and say, right, I've got a house sorted. Now how do I get clients? And I have to break it to them that they're probably 6 to 12 months away from being able to fill that house, sometimes even longer. And in the meantime, they're hemorrhaging money paying rent on an empty property they can't use. We spoke to someone last month who signed a 5-year lease on a 3-bedroom house. 5 years. They were paying £2,500 a month. They hadn't even got a CQC registration yet. They weren't on any frameworks. They had no idea how they were going to get the referrals. They just thought, if I get the house, the clients will come thereafter. That's over £120,000 they're committed to over 5 years, and they have no way of filling that house. That's not really a business plan, that's financial suicide. So why do people do this, you may ask? I think there are a few reasons. First, it's exciting. Looking at houses, imagining what they'll look like when they're set up, thinking about who will live there. It's a bit of fun. It's more exciting than sorting out policies and procedures or filling out the CQC application. Second, there's a lot of misleading information out there. There are landlords advertising properties specifically for supported living, promising guaranteed income, saying things like get your supported house today and start earning immediately. It sounds brilliant, but it's nonsense. And you can't really start earning immediately because you can't take clients until everything's fully set up, including your registration. And thirdly, some people genuinely don't understand the process. They think it works like regular lettings. You get a house, you advertise it, people move in. They don't realize there's a whole registration process, framework applications, commissioning relationships that need to be there in the first place. And fourth, some people aren't getting advice from property investors or landlords who don't actually understand the care sector. So if you shouldn't get a property first, what should come first then? Let's walk through the order of things to make sure things happen smoothly. Step 1 is understanding exactly what type of service you're going to provide. Not just supported living, be specific. Are you supporting to young people or adults? Do they have learning disabilities, mental health needs, physical disabilities? Will they need personal care or not? This matters because it determines whether you need CQC registration, what kind of staff you'll need, what your costs will be, and ultimately what kind of property will be sustainable for you. Step 2 is getting your registration sorted if you need it. If you're providing personal care, you need CQC registration, and that takes 8 to 12 months minimum. You can't operate while you're waiting for that registration to come through. So there's absolutely no point to having a property sitting empty during that time. Step 3 is getting onto frameworks in your area. Most referrals come through local authorities now. You need to know which frameworks are available. Some frameworks are closed at the time you receive your registration and won't open again for years. Some require you to already have a good CQC rating, which you can't get if you're brand new. Some have specific geographical requirements. You need to know all this before you commit to a property in a particular area. Step 4 is understanding where your referrals are actually going to come from. Is your local authority actively looking for more supported living providers? Do they have people waiting for placements, or is the market already saturated? We've seen people set up in an area where there's loads of providers already, especially in the supported living provision, and the local authority isn't looking for any more providers. They're stuck with an empty house because there's no demand. Only after you've done all that, you should even start thinking about properties, because by that point, you'll know what kind of property you need, where it needs to be, how much you can afford to pay in rent, and most importantly, you'll have a realistic route in filling it. Let me tell you what happens when people get this wrong. We like to call it a property trap. You sign a lease, let's say it's £2,000 a month. You think, right, I'll get this sorted quickly and start getting clients within a couple of months, no problem. But then you realise you need CQC registration, you start the application process, and you're told it takes up to 10 months. You think that's longer than expected, but I'll manage. 10 months later, you finally get registered, and that's great. But now you need to go onto your local authority's framework. You submit your application, you're told the framework is full and won't be reviewed for another 18 months. Or maybe you do get onto the framework, but there aren't any referrals coming through. Or the referrals that come through aren't suitable for your property. Or you're competing against 20 other providers who've been around longer and have better relationships with commissioners. Meanwhile, month after month, you're paying that rent, £2,000 every month, for a house you can't use. After a year, you spent £24,000 on rent alone. Add in your other costs, insurance, utilities, your own living expenses, and you could easily be up to £50,000 down with nothing to show for it. I've seen people remortgage their homes to cover these costs. I've seen people max out credit cards. We've seen marriages fall apart because of the financial strain. It's really, really a mess. Here's another thing people don't think about. These leases aren't short term. Most landlords offering supported living properties want long leases, so think 3, 5, or sometimes even up to 10 years. They want that security because they know supported living can be lucrative for them, but also means you're locked in. If things don't work out, if you can't get referrals, if you realise you've made a mistake, you can't just walk away. You're legally committed to paying that rent for the duration of the lease. It may seem like an exaggeration, but that's not a worst case scenario that I'm making up to scare you. That could be a real person whose life was seriously affected because they got a property way too early. And there's something else. Landlords who specifically advertise properties for supported living often overcharge. They know that local authorities pay housing benefits and they know what the local housing allowance rates are, so they pitch their rent right at the top end of what they think they can get away with. We've seen 3-bedroom terrace houses being advertised for supported living at £3,000 a month, when a regular rental on the same street would be £1,200. The landlord has just stuck supported living on it and more than doubled the rent. Now, you might think, well, the local authority pays the housing benefit, so what does it matter? But here's the thing. Housing benefit is capped at the local housing allowance rate. If the rent is higher than that, someone has to make up the difference. Sometimes the local authority will agree to pay an enhanced rate if the property has been specifically adapted or if it's for someone with very specific needs. But if it's just a standard house with nothing special about it, they'll only pay the LHA rate, which means either the person living there has to top up from their own money, which they probably don't have, or you as the provider have to top up. If you're topping up £500 a month on rent and you've got multiple properties, that's thousands coming out of your profit margin. Your business becomes unsustainable very quickly. Now, some people may say, what if I get a spot purchase? What if the local authority contacts me directly with someone who needs a placement urgently, but I need to have a property available to take them? Well, yes, that does happen. Local authorities do sometimes contact providers directly when they've got someone who needs a placement urgently. But here's the thing, that's not necessarily a business model, that's more so opportunistic. You can't build a sustainable business on the hope that maybe, possibly, the council might ring you one day with an urgent placement. That's not a plan, that's a gamble. And even if you do get a spot purchase, it's usually for one person. And if you've got a 3 or 4 bedroom house, you've now got one person in it and 3 empty bedrooms. You're still not covering your costs. The whole point of shared supported living is that you've got multiple people sharing the property, which makes the staffing more cost effective and the rent more affordable. If you've just got one person, your staff costs are going to be astronomical compared to what you're bringing in. So here's the right way to do it. How should you think about properties? First, don't even look at properties until you have your registration, and at least you're on a framework. And don't start looking at houses. We know it can be tempting, but just don't do it. You're going to get excited about places you can't actually use yet. Second, when you do start looking, be really clear about what you actually need. Don't just look at what's available, think about the people you're going to be supporting. What would work for them and what wouldn't work? Thirdly, be really careful about the rent you agree to. Work out what the LHA rate is in your area and don't agree to pay significantly more than that unless there's very good reason. And make sure you've got written confirmation from the local authority that they'll pay an enhanced rate before you sign anything. And fourth, if it's possible, try to negotiate shorter leases to start with or break clauses that give you an exit route if things don't work out. I know landlords want long-term security, but you need to protect yourself too. And fifth, ideally, you want to be bidding for specific people who are ready to move in, and then finding a property that suits them rather than having a property and trying to find people to fill it. I know that's not always how it works in practice because of the way local authorities commission services now, but it's the ideal scenario. Let's talk about some warning signs to watch out for. And if you spot any of these, alarm bells should be ringing. Warning sign 1. A landlord contacts you offering a supported living property and promising guaranteed income or guaranteed referrals. They can't guarantee that. they're not the ones making referrals, it's a red flag. Warning sign 2. The rent is way higher than normal rental prices in the area, but the property is just a standard house with nothing special about it. You're just being overcharged. Warning sign 3. The lease is very long, 5 years plus, with no break clauses, and the landlord is pushing you to sign quickly. They're trying to lock you in before you realise it's not a good deal. Warning sign 4. Someone tells you that you need to have a property before you can get on a framework, so you should get the property sorted first. That's backwards. Most frameworks don't require you to have a property at the application stage. And warning sign 5. You're being offered a package deal where you pay for the property and consultancy support together, and it's all a bit vague about what the consultancy actually includes. This is often a way of locking you into an overpriced property by making it seem like you get extra value. Now, if you're watching this and thinking, oops, I've already signed a lease, what do I do now? Don't panic, it's not ideal, but there's always things you can do. First, check your lease carefully. Is there a break clause? Is there any way you can exit early, even if it costs you a bit? It might be worth taking a hit on a couple of months' rent to get out longer commitments that's not working. Second, speak to the landlord. Explain the situation. Are they willing to be flexible? Could you negotiate a reduced rent temporarily while you're getting set up? Could you pause the lease? Some landlords will work with you, especially if the alternative is defaulting on the rent. Third, be really strategic about your registration and framework applications. Get them done as quickly as possible and don't drag your feet. Every month that passes is another month of rent you're paying for nothing. Fourth, look at whether you could use the property for something else temporarily. Could you do, housing only for now without providing care just to get the income coming in? And fifth, be really honest with yourself about whether this is actually viable. If you're 6 months in, you've made no progression, you're burning through money and there's no realistic prospect of filling the house anytime soon, it might be better to cut your losses now rather than throwing more money at it. I know that's a horrible thing to hear, but sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is admit that something isn't working and walk away before you lose everything. Isn't that successful people never make mistakes? It's that they learn from them and adapt. If you've got a property too early and you're struggling, that doesn't mean you're not capable of running a supported living service. It just means you need to adjust your approach. Maybe you need to take a step back, sort out the things you should have sorted out at first, and then come back to it. That's not giving up, that's being smart. I really hope this video has been helpful, and more importantly, I hope it stopped you from making this mistake. If you're right at the beginning of your journey and you were thinking about getting a property first, please don't. Sort everything out first. And if you're feeling overwhelmed by all of this, and if you're not sure in what order you should do things, make sure to approach us at Caring Experts. Thank you for watching this video, and please like, share, subscribe. Thank you very much.